Coming up tonight, at the start of hurricane season, Caribbean emergency officials have an emergency management plan in place for the region. Plus, you would remember when he led a union march and tore down the barricades on Bay Street in protest of the sale of BTC. Well, tonight he expresses his views on it. Stay close for that. And after almost 50 years in ministry, Her Grace Bishop Helen McPhee is stepping down from the pulpit. Stay close for the details as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Megan Shepard. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency hosting a press conference Friday morning to bring its regional partners up to date with ongoing efforts in disaster readiness, particularly as the Atlantic hurricane season is now underway. Executive Director of CEDIMA, Elizabeth Riley, noting that just a few months ago, CEDIMA Council members approved a new 5-year strategic plan for disaster readiness.
First, to accelerate the development of comprehensive disaster management capabilities in our countries. In other words, to support our participating states in the areas which are national priority. Strategic Objective 2, which is directly related to today's press conference, is aimed at building the next level regional response mechanism. Strategic Objective 3 focuses on accelerating recovery within our region, and Strategic Objective 4, which is a supporting objective and more inward looking for the CEDIMA system, seeks to position CEDIMA to deliver for now and for the future.
Riley noting that training is continuous for CEDIMA and its member states. She says recovery is one of the newer areas for the technical portfolio that the coordinating unit is now ramping up.
And in a collaboration with UNDP and the European Union, we provided a post-disaster needs assessment workshop at the end of March of this year, which was held in Barbados. And 40 participants from 7 countries attended this training, and these were senior level government officials from ministries of finance, economic development, agriculture, tourism, and infrastructure. And this will increase the capacity of our states to undertake post-disaster needs assessment in the aftermath of events.
And just over a year ago, a special partnership was forged between CEDIMA and Global Support and Development. She says she is pleased to share that the region is being supported with assistance in strengthening its disaster readiness.
This is a humanitarian organization whose mission is to rapidly respond to disasters in collaboration with at-risk communities and support them to prepare for future disasters. Global Support and Development has a unique combination of skilled response experts and leaders in the humanitarian sector. GSD has expressed its honor to partner with CEDIMA in our response and preparedness efforts in the region.
The partnership will be solidified at the end of this month with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding in St. Lucia. She also made this announcement.
They will be posting later this month a state-of-the-art humanitarian vessel in the Caribbean region. The vessel is called the MV Dawn, and it is a state-of-the-art vessel that is specifically configured to provide humanitarian and disaster support to affected states and will very much strengthen our disaster response capabilities in the region, particularly in the area of logistics, which is an area that we do always require additional assistance in.
Police need your help identifying and locating 3 men who are responsible for shooting a man today. The incident occurred shortly after noon at the rear of a home on Cascarilla Street in the hot zone of Pinewood Gardens. Police say the suspects emerged from a property at the rear of the 28-year-old victim's home and shot him multiple times. The victim was taken to hospital by EMS personnel, where his condition is unknown. The suspects reportedly fled the area in a small, white, heavily tinted Japanese vehicle. Anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact police at 911-919, the Criminal Investigations Department at 502-9991 or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Operation Ceasefire, officers apprehending undocumented Chinese nationals Thursday. Police say just after 11 p.m. and acting on information, they took 9 Chinese nationals, 8 men and 1 woman, into custody after they were found in a home on Family Street off Soldier Road. Department of Immigration officials will process them further and investigations are continuing. Meantime, there have been number of groundbreakings in Grand Bahama in recent months. And while the move has been welcomed news by a lot of residents on that island, some have expressed that they need to see more projects come to fruition. The latest groundbreaking, a healthcare facility. Former Grand Bahama Member of Parliament Frederick McPhee weighing in on the situation.
Forgive us if we're not as optimistic as the PLP government would want us or wish us to be. We've been there, we've done that, we're moving on. We're known for seeing groundbreakings. So we want to have this health facility. By the way, what is it? Is it a hospital? Is it a health facility? What really is it? Because we keep getting different stories. Nevertheless, it is something that we can use that can be to the benefit of our health development.
And as for the government's progress to date, the former MP had this to say.
From 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I would give them a 5. It is still yet early in the ball game, and we're still watching to see what moves will be taken, what moves the government will make in terms of Grand Bahama. But overall, for the country and what they've been doing in the country, we would have to give them a 5.
The privatization of the Bahamas Telecommunications Corporation in 2011 dominated headlines, with the deal being finalized on April 6 of that year. At the time, former Bahamas Communication and Public Officers Union President Shane Gibson led a protest against the move. Over a decade later, when asked if he regrets his stance on the matter, Gibson says he was against the way it was done, not the move.
I think we were more opposed to the way they were privatizing rather than privatizing itself. And even if you look at the results of BTC and the value of BTC and the number of employees they have now, you have to agree with me that whatever they did and the way they privatized is not done properly.
Gibson says the issue was with the amount of foreign involvement the company had and continues to have to this day.
At the time, BTC had something like 2,400 employees. They were providing good quality service, 100% Bahamian employees. Now today, every Bahamian manager, you would notice, have a foreign manager in charge of them. And so there's no question in my mind that the way they went about private BTC was wrong, and the way it's being run now is wrong, because BTC does not need, at this time, any foreign employees. They were 100% Bahamian then, and now if you look at them, all of the senior positions are being held by foreigners.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, the island of Grand Bahama holding its own Labor Day March yesterday. The details coming up. And speaking of parades, Grand Bahama also hosting a Jubilee Parade in celebration of the country's 50th anniversary. Find out more when Our News Weekend returns.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Welcome back. Unions and workers across Grand Bahama coming out in large numbers yesterday to celebrate the Sir Randall Fox Labor Day Parade under the theme Celebrating 50 Years United in Love. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Public Service Fred Mitchell on island for the occasion, noting that the majority of unions have expressed specific concerns. He explained to attendees that there are various challenges within the various sectors.
Let me put it this way. The issues are really complex. Let's take the public service. We have in our Constitution something called the Public Service Commission. which is maybe 5 people. And they are responsible for processing all of the transfers, discipline, everything you name it. And they are simply overwhelmed. So when we complain about things taking a long time, it is in part an administrative issue, but we have a structural problem that we have to solve. It's our job to solve it, but I just want to say by reason of understanding what the real issues are.
President of the Bahamas Educators, Counselors and Allied Workers Union, Sandra Major, expressing the importance of all unions working together for the common good of all. She explains some of the local concerns.
In Grand Bahama, especially where there is the contractual workers who don't have any rights. You're a worker today and tomorrow you're not. That's a serious issue for us here in the labor movement. And we think it's about time the government of the Bahamas gets it right. Because the laborers who have that issue can't go to the bank. They have no say. They hire you for 52 weeks. At the end of the day, those persons are still waited to become permanent and pensionable. We have come a long way. We can't take that. We have come a long way, but we have so much further to go.
Danica Martin, Area Vice President of the Bahamas Educators Managerial Union, adding that she was pleased to see over 90% of administrators taking part. She says this shows confidence in the efforts of the union.
All of us have issues. Every union has issues. And, some of our issues are synonymous with other unions. Some of our members are still waiting for confirmations. They're still waiting for the remuneration for their positions that they are currently holding. So all of these things we have petitioned the Bahamas government for, and we are arduously working on our members' behalf in order to get these issues rectified.
Here's what they're hoping to see happen before the opening of the new school year in September.
We would like for all schools, one, to be adequately staffed with all of the requisite administrators that they need, along with our office here in Grand Bahama. Also, when we look at the working conditions of some of our administrators in these schools, we are embarking on an exercise where we would like the government to please start the renovations of these schools in a timely manner so that all renovations can be completed before the start of the 2023-2024 academic school year.
Grand Bahama hosting a Jubilee Parade in celebration of the country's 50th anniversary recently on Pioneers Way. Students from various schools on the island took part in the parade under the theme, "I'm proud to be Bahamian." Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Zane Lightbourne, was the guest speaker.
This is about our students, the future of our country. I think that our children, as the representative of our next 50 years going forward, we need to make sure that they have, or assure that they have the level of pride that will sustain our future growth in this country. So it's very important that we instill a sense of national pride in our students and let them understand the significance of where they came from, of having Bahamian pride, of what it is to be a proud Bahamian.
He says the achievements and accomplishments of the future generation depends on community leaders and parents.
Their future is a reflection of our work. So we cannot be proud when we see negatives in our country that would bring the spirit of our people down, or that would shed an international light or national light, poor reflection on our country. I think that it's important that we get our parents involved, let them understand that they have a stake in this game, and it's incumbent upon them to be good parents for our children, good examples for our children, to show that they display national pride, proud of what God gave us.
Major funding for sports is on the way. Don't blink. Details straight ahead. And the Ministry of Youth is opening its arms to the youth of the nation, offering summer jobs and summer camps. Keep watching. The details are up next when Our News Weekend comes back from the break. Welcome back. Major funding for sports allocated in the 2023-2024 budget. Prime Minister Philip Davis making the announcement during his communication on Wednesday, saying the move takes them a step closer to fulfilling the dreams of many.
As a part of our commitment to investing in young people, sports, and the arts, we have also budgeted to host major international sporting events, such as Grifter Swimming, Grifter Triathlon, and the World Relays. The hosting of these sporting events plays a crucial role in our Sports in Paradise initiative, as it not only celebrates athleticism, but also creates a platform for aspiring Bahamian athletes to shine.
As for sporting activities in the Family Islands, Davis says,
I'm very excited that we have made provision in this budget to construct a 50-meter pool in Grand Bahama and to develop Family Island sports facilities. The facility in Cat Island is already near completion and serves as a benchmark for other facilities throughout the Bahamas. And our sailing has recently been proclaimed a national sports. We have set aside funding in this budget to develop it.
With school breaking for the summer, students will have a lot of time on their hands. The Ministry of Youth once again will provide something useful for kids to do and in some cases earn a little cash. Our Joshua Williams has the details.
Hundreds of youth are expected to participate in this year's youth work and summer camp programs. The initiative put on by the Ministry of Youth seeks to train and employ youth, giving them lifelong skills while affording them a reasonable salary. Division of Youth Head at the Ministry of Youth, Santina Neely, says the initiative seeks to open the imagination of youth around the country.
Parents and young people have a wide array of opportunities that are available, and we know that it only sparks your interests. It opens your imagination. So as young people, we want them at this stage to be opening their imaginations to all the possibilities.
A number of camps are also planned for those kids who won't be working. Here's what campers can expect.
So we're going to have bird watching, we're going to have arts and crafts, science. So it's going to be a really good time for our students. And campers are from 4 to 14.
We're running a camp called I Matter, and we will be concentrating on a discipline each week. It's a 4-week camp, and we thought it was very important to hit these areas. My body matters, my soul matters, my country matters, because we're trying to get these children in the frame of mind that they matter.
And as for how kids can get involved in the job opportunities or camps,
if you haven't already filled out the form, you go to our Facebook page, click the link so that you can ensure that you get a spot in our corporate placement program. We also have our apprenticeship camps that take place where 15 to 17-year-olds are taught and paid to learn a skill. That is one of our most oversubscribed programs. So if you haven't already filled out the application, again, we encourage you to go to our Facebook page at Division of Youth 242 so that you can fill out your application to ensure that you get a spot.
Reporting for our News Weekend, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. There is something in the tropics out there that might be affecting our holiday weather. The weather forecast is on the way. And Her Grace Bishop Helen McPhee retires after almost 50 years of doing God's work. Our Berthany McDermott had a sit-down with her as she closed the curtain on this chapter of her life. Stay close to details right after this break. Welcome back. Wherever you go, no matter the weather, always bring your own sunshine. Here's the forecast for the next few days. It is a story of triumph and perseverance. After spending most of her life in ministry, Bishop Helen McPhee, who became the first ordained woman bishop in the Bahamas, is preparing to retire. She sat down with our Berthany McDermott and tells us how it all got started.
To show forth his glory, I will be that one.
After nearly 5 decades in ministry, Agape Church founder and senior pastor Bishop Helen McPhee is stepping down from the post and going into retirement. She recalls when she first started in ministry back in the late 1970s.
I got saved in Christ the King Anglican Church, which was my church. And shortly after being converted, wanting more and more of him, I tried to make sure I stayed within the range of persons who I know would help me in my walk with God.
McPhee says in staying connected with like-minded individuals, she found her husband. The union resulted in the duo serving in ministry together. She eventually became an ordained minister and began traveling to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ.
It was not a burden. It was nothing that you can get tired with, like if you're doing some other chores, you just get tired of it. I never got tired. I found much joy in doing it.
The veteran clergywoman explains she's been invited to minister across denominations, making a mark in the Christian arena and creating the legacy she now has today. She eventually went on to start what is now Agape Church, which she told Our News was during a challenging time in her personal life. She recalls leading a women's event into a time of worship when this happened.
I began to see the church moving. Our church, I see it in the spirit, moving. My eyes was closed, but I saw the church moving like on a screen. After the church, I saw the legs, no faces, no upper body, just the legs coming across the screen. And then the voice of God said to me, "Is it the building or the people?" I said, "God, the people."
She was eventually ordained as the first woman bishop in the Bahamas. Her nearly 50-year-long journey allowed her to touch many lives and didn't come without its fair share of highs and lows. We asked her about some of the struggles of being a woman pastor during a time when she says there were only 2 others locally.
A particular, without calling names, literally preached on me for about 3 years. A woman ain't supposed to do this, a woman not supposed to do that. Woman supposed to be pastoring, ain't have no husband, or leave their husband. Me leave my husband.
But despite the criticism, she says she kept her focus on God and went on. McPhee believes her greatest calling is to women and the family. She will officially step down this August, and Pastor Kellen Russell will be filling her shoes. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Very inspiring. Thanks, Berthany. And thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of our producer and the entire technical team, I'm Megan Shepard. Continue to enjoy your holiday weekend.